Back for season 3, episode 4 of Love After Lockup. So the first couple that they give us is Rachel and Doug. They wake up together in their new home and they head outside to the porch. They're talking. He's waiting for Rachel's mom and little Dougie to get there so that he can see him for the first time in years. So her mom pulls up with Dougie and he runs up and he gives his dad a hug because he's so excited to see him. He didn't punch him in the stomach and he's just like really holding him tight and crying because Dougie said that was just the best day of his life in a while, I'm sure, because he's so happy to have his dad with him again. Now they all go inside or onto some porch or sunroom and they're just out there talking and he's just explaining to her mom how he is and that he's excited to be out. And little Dougie mentions that he's glad that his dad just has one girlfriend now because he's had like 10 girlfriends within the past 3 years. And Rachel's looking like, what? And Doug's like, no, I'm glad I chose this one. And Rachel invites her mom out to lunch and her mom's just like, no, you guys, y'all three need to get to know each other, get used to being around each other. So they end up going out to, I guess they are going to end up going out to lunch. But while her mom's sitting there talking to Doug, she's like, I'm smiling, I'm being cordial, but there's something about him that I just don't like. It's making the gut in my stomach hurt. And I just don't, it's just something that's not right about him. So Rachel walks her mom out and she asks her mom, like, what do you think about Doug? And her mom's just like, he could be a little bit more humble now that he's gotten out of prison. But her mom's just like, oh, Rachel seems happy, so we'll see what happens. So we move on to Deontay and Nikki. Now, Deontay finally is picking Nikki up from her mom's house to take her to his house. And when they get there, he has these little tea light candles on the floor in the shape of a heart, and he has rose petals on the inside of it. He also has rose petals leading down the hallway. He has the tea lights leading down the hallway. When he shows her into the room, he has the string lights hanging up on the wall. He just has everything just so decorated so nice. He has the little, looks like the little electronic tea light candles on the bed. He has more gifts. He gives her another pair of shoes, some green and white J's, and they were nice. He also tells her, oh, there's another gift for you under the teddy bear. And she lifts up the teddy bear and there's lingerie there. And she looks so uncomfortable. And she's like, I know it's been a year and a half and Deontay's been waiting to have sex with me. So, I mean, I'm telling him that I'm not comfortable with all that yet. So she's telling him, I'll put on the lingerie. I'll try it on for you. But again, you can look, but you cannot touch. So he leaves out of the room and she puts on the lingerie and she's explaining how people in prison used to pay her to dance for them and dance for their girlfriends on their birthday, and she would just like drip water all over herself and do like these seductive dances or whatever, and she liked the attention and having everybody's eyes on her. So she comes out of the room and Deontay's just like, oh my gosh, and he is just ready to like pounce on her right then and there. So she comes out and he's just like, dance for me. And she was like, well, you don't tell me what to do and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, girl, what did you think? What did you think he was going to want? You're putting on lingerie. So he takes off his shirt, takes off his t-shirt that he had under his shirt. And she's like, no, you need to slow it down. So she does like this little twirl and I guess a little twirl and grind, like one little spin it looks like. And she gets up to him and she was like, I don't feel comfortable doing this. My boobs are all small and the lingerie, it don't look right in the lingerie. And I'm thinking in my head, girl, you did not have no lingerie on when you was in prison. You probably was just lifting up that little prison uniform, doing a little twirl or whatever. Like, you weren't worried about what you had on in prison, so why are you worried about what you have on now? But she's being difficult because she don't like him. And she get on my nerves. But she gets close to him and she's like, we can have sex after you get my boobs done. And she gives him a kiss, and she's like, that's all you're going to get. And then she goes back into the room, and Deontay is like on his knees walking to the room, and he's just like, no. He's on the door like, no, please, just. And that's how they end the scene with him just another disappointment, one more L for him to carry into the future, because once again she's giving him another sign that she does not want him. Okay. Okay, so the next couple that we get to is Courtney and Josh and the dogs. And Courtney is telling Josh, well, she's explaining that he's really close to his grandmother, and he really gets into his grandmother putting him in foster care and him kind of blaming her for a lot of his issues when he was a child, and kind of giving her a hard time over things that were outside of her control. So she encourages him to call his grandmother, and he does. He gives Mama Rose a call, and he's telling her that he's out because he hadn't talked to her in a few months, and he was thinking that she would be upset with him. And he was telling her that, you know, like, you're all I have, and I love you so much, and I just want to come and sit down with you and make eye contact. And I don't know if it was edited or not, but at first she was like, I don't know about that. And he was just like, well, I just want to come there and just sit with you and talk to you. And she was like, okay, I'm here. I'll be here. And he was like, okay. He was like, I love you, okay? She was like, okay. I tell you what, old people can be savages. They have been through it all. They have seen it all. They have heard it all. So I think when the younger people come and they're so emotional sometimes, I think that's why old people have the ability to kind of just look at them and they're like, look, this is just another part of your life that you're going to have to go through. It's just another moment. And I mean, you can come talk, but it's not as serious as you're making it out to be. You're always going to be my grandson or whatever. She didn't say that, but that's the impression that old people give me. Like, they've been through so much and seen so much that when you're kind of falling apart and breaking down, sometimes they're just kind of sitting there looking at you like, I'm here. So yeah, Mama Rose was just like, look, just come on. I'll be here, and you know, you can come talk, get whatever you need to get off your chest. So maybe we'll get to see her before the episode or before the season is out. Woo. So the next couple that we're going to get to is Anissa and Jeff. So Anissa's at home. She's getting ready. And she has these little... First of all, she got these rollers in her hair. And I'm like... Okay, I'm like, how curly is your hair going to get? You just curling dry hair. It's not wet. You don't have no setting lotion up there. It don't look like you got no hold. You ain't put no holding spray on your hair. Are those curls really gonna set right, or your hair just gonna drop back down and just be a little curly at the end and still just straight? Like, I don't understand. Her hair's not that long. She has shoulder length hair, so that just bugged me. Seeing her dry hair in those rollers, and it looked like she was just rolling her hair without putting nothing on it. Girl, you ain't about to get no curl definition doing that, okay? Anyway, her friend Kyle is there with her. He's going to ride with her to go and pick up Jeff. He's helping her get ready. She gets ready. She comes out the room, and she's like, ta-da. She just looks normal. Like, she just got dressed and just put on... It's just like she put on something that she wears every single day. Like, nothing that looks special. Black shirt, jeans, and some little old... shoes, little flats that she got. So they ride in and they get to the bus station, and she has been waiting there for him to get there for 2 hours. When I saw that, I said, 2 hours? 2 hours? 11 years and 2 hours. Why is this the same storyline as Angela and Tony? I just do not understand. And then at the same time, her friends, he's just sitting in the car. So the bus pulls up. She's standing there with the little sign, and she's like, welcome home, Jeff. And she's watching people get off the bus, and everybody gets off the bus, and she doesn't see anybody else coming out. So she's like, oh gosh. If this happens again, then I feel like he has been using me this whole time for money. So then she sees the bus close its doors, back up, and she's like, hold up, wait a minute. I swear, I feel like she was hoping that bus, that somebody was going to come running from the back of the bus like, hey, wait. I'm trying to get off the bus and let him off the bus in the middle of the parking lot, even though once the Greyhound about to pull out, the Greyhound is about to go to the next stop. They are not stopping for anybody, okay? I done had like 2 bad experiences riding a Greyhound, which I will never catch the bus again, but that's besides the point. That bus left, and she was just left out there, standing out there looking crazy. As desperate as she is about Jeff coming home, who knows? She might hop in that truck and follow that Greyhound bus to the next city. We will see. But come on, Anissa. It's been 11 years, girl. Come on. And then she was talking about how she feel like 51 and 40 is a huge age gap. When you're young, I feel like the older you get, age gaps seem smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, because 41 and 40 and 51 or 41 and 50 or whatever, that just don't seem like a huge gap when you kind of get up past 40. Like, I can understand like 40 and 70 or 40 and 80, like that's half of what the other age is. But even still, I don't think that the age gap is such a big deal once you get up in your years, because someone that's 40 could be in a better position than someone that's 50, or someone that's 40 could be more mature than somebody that's 50, or somebody that's 40 could be more emotionally mature or whatever than somebody that's older than them. So I think as you get older, the age difference, it does not really have a huge impact on a relationship like it does when you're 20 and maybe somebody's 40, or when you're 18 and somebody's 30. Because I feel like once after you hit a certain age, you're fully an adult, and you're only going to mature and grow from there, more so into the person that you already know that you are. So it just don't seem like that big of an age gap to me. I don't think she have nothing to worry about unless he's really and truly using her. But we need more to this story, because girl, 11 years and 2 hours, no ma'am. Okay, so they tricked me. They got me good, because they went on a commercial and then they came back, and then we continued with the Anissa and Jeff story. So Anissa's out there still waiting at the bus station after the bus pulls off, and she's standing out at just on the sidewalk, and she's like, "Oh, Jeffrey." And she's so disappointed because he didn't get off the bus. And so she starts walking back towards the bus station, and Jeff comes from around the corner. And he was like, "Look, I fell asleep on the bus. Some old lady woke me up." And I guess when you're riding a Greyhound and somebody don't know what your stop is, you fall asleep on the bus, you can miss your stop and end up having to get off in another city. So he's lucky that the lady woke him up. And he runs and gives her a hug, and he's smoking a cigarette, and he hugs her, and the cigarette's like right here next to her hair. And I'm like, he is going to burn a hole in her hair. But she's so excited, and it's so weird because Jeff looks white while he's not in the confessional. But in the confessional, he looks like he could be white, black, Mexican, Puerto Rican, or I don't know. It just seems like he looks darker in the confessional for some reason. And it also sounds like he's chewing tobacco the whole time. I'm like, is he holding gum under his lip, or what is he doing? Because it just sounds like he has something in his mouth. So they go to the car. She introduces him to Kyle, and then they start driving to the halfway house, because she has to drop him off at the halfway house. And she's just like, she said something. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what she said. And he was looking at her like, first of all, why is he's letting us know he does not like the fact that she brought Kyle. He does not understand why he's there. And he is getting pissed off on the way to the halfway house, because he's like, why is he even here? This is supposed to be just a me and you moment, and he just was not feeling her bringing Cal along with them for the ride to the halfway house. And I can kind of understand that. Like, I don't, maybe he's, I mean, I don't know if I can use this word to describe a person, but maybe he's just really territorial and he's just like, look, this is my girl. Like, I was using her at first, but now I'm really, like, really starting to like her, because he did admit that he had used her the first two times that she thought he was supposed to get out. He was using the money that she was sending to him for drugs. So this third time, he's saying that he's like more so in love and into Anissa this third time around. So, she drops him off at the halfway house. They kiss, and Jeff is like, not Jeff, Kyle. He's like, all right, bud, nice to meet you. And Kyle was like, he was not feeling Kyle at all. I don't even know if he said bye. If he did, they edited that part out, and that was real trifling, but he was just like, Kyle ain't have to be here for this little ride along. I don't know. That part was just funny. He was not feeling it. And it just seemed like Anissa was just so oblivious. And he was like, oh, I can't wait. Kyle was like, I can't wait to see you getting to the house for the first time. And Jeff was just like, Anissa, girl, all right, Jeff is here. You ain't gotta stop being friends with Cal, but let him give y'all some space so that y'all can get better acquainted over these next couple of weeks that he's gonna be out of jail. Okay, we get this little mini scene of Rachel watching Doug warm up bologna, and he cut the 3 slices of bologna, and he's like, look, this is what I ate in jail, and this is how we warmed it up in jail. I was like, girl, you with somebody that's getting out of jail, that is all you are going to hear for years. Well, this is how I did it in jail, and when I was in jail, and oh, I know her from jail, and when I was in jail, that is all she is going to hear. So she better get used to it. She's watching him warm that bologna up in the microwave, and she was just sitting there like, okay, so she's like, why did it cup up like that? She was like, I don't really care for bologna that much. I'm a Spam girl, and honestly, I'm not a bologna or a Spam girl. I used to eat bologna sandwiches when I was a kid, but I think once I was a teenager, I stopped eating bologna. I don't really like Spam like that, and I don't even like hot dogs like that unless they come off the grill. I don't like no boiled hot dogs or nothing like that, so I don't know. Maybe it's just all that meat being put together. I mean, I like sausage, but I mean, is that not just pork? Yeah, I eat pork, but I mean, is that not just pork mixed with some fat and some, I don't know. But he ended up warming up the bologna in the microwave. He put some mayonnaise on the bread and just slapped the sandwich together and asked her to taste it. And she was just like, that was it. Okay, so the next scene we go back to Courtney and Josh, and they're getting ready to go and visit his mama Rose, his grandmother, and they get to her house, and her house is like so big, and it's really pretty, and that grass is beautiful. It looks like she has so much land around her house, and when he walked up to the door, I was just like, why do a lot of our grandparents have the weirdest colored houses? But it's so cool because it's like it becomes a part of your childhood memories. His grandmother's house was green and she had yellow doors. And when I saw that, I just laughed because my grandma has a pink house with yellow shutters. And I just love going over there so much. And I didn't even notice what color her house was until I was an adult. And I was like, wow, her house is really pink with yellow shutters. But that's what we were used to. So, I mean, it is what it is. His grandma comes out of the house. She opens the door and she has this little swing on her porch. So they're just sitting out there talking. And she was explaining why she had to raise Jeff. And his mom was on drugs. And his dad had visitation with him until he was 5. But he lost visitation because she found out that his dad had been giving him beer. So she was getting kind of emotional about his childhood. So, she was like, I don't want to talk about that. And he was just basically there to apologize to her and let her know that he took out a lot of his anger on her and she didn't deserve that. And now that he's older, he's feeling kind of bad about it. So his grandmother is just telling him like, you're lucky to have Courtney. She's there with you. She risked a lot to be with you. And not Jeff, I'm sorry, Josh admits that he was mean to Courtney initially, and he feels bad about that also because she's his wife and he doesn't want to have that type of relationship. So they're just all kind of out there just talking and getting reacquainted, and he's enjoying his time visiting with his grandmother. And they're just in that scene with them just giving everybody getting into like this little group hug type thing. And it looks like his grandmother likes Courtney, and it just looks like he had a really good time visiting his grandma. So good for you, Josh. I'm excited. There's at first I was thinking that their storyline was really boring, but I mean, I think that maybe I feel like I'm starting to change my mind and think that maybe Courtney and Josh are a really good couple for each other, because he seems like he's like kind of like a really like slow and steady and not really needing to live the fast life and be a bad boy type guy. But then again, he's only been out for 5 days, so we'll see how it goes. But my feelings about their relationship is changing a little bit. So maybe Jeff, not I keep saying Jeff, I meant Josh. Maybe Josh is like kind of like a sweet, just kind of laid back type of guy. And that might really be a good fit, like him and Courtney. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we get this scene with Rachel, Doug, and Dougie, and they're out at a restaurant, and Dougie is coming with the jokes and the the little slick comments, and he's asking Doug like, "So how many times did you drop the soap?" And Doug was like, "Oh, only on my birthday." And they're chuckling, and Dougie's like, "Would you rather go back to jail or stay here with us?" And Doug's like, "Oh, well, which one would you prefer?" And Dougie was like, "I want you to stay here with us." And throughout the course of the dinner, you could see that Dougie was really just kind of being happy about his dad being there, and kind of making little slick comments on the side, and calling him a filthy womanizer. And Doug's like, "Pick your head off the table, stop playing with your straw." And he's like, to Doug, he's made comments before about, "Oh, well, we're going to have to get Dougie in line," and he gets away with murder from Rachel. And my thing is, you were only in his life until he was 1.5. And although you're his dad, you've never taken the responsibility of taking care of him. So I think the respect that he's expecting Dougie to give him as just him being his father is just not enough, because he just has not been there. He has not been taking care of Dougie. Dougie has not lived with him. Dougie has not experienced being around him. He hasn't built up that respect. Like, he loves him, but he does not have the respect for him that I guess Doug wants him to have with him being his father. And I don't think that Doug realizes that that respect has to be earned over the course of time. He's a child. He has that connection with him, with Doug being his father. But at the same time, they still have to build the type of relationship where he has the respect for him as his father. And that's going to take some time. And Doug don't seem like he's going to... He seemed like he's kind of short-tempered with him, but that's just because he's not used to being around him. The boy is 12 now. You weren't around him when he was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, you were in and out, in and out. So you haven't had a chance to really build anything with him in order for you to say, "You know what, stop doing that." And he's respecting what you say. Like, he's listening to you because you're his dad, but he's still not dealing with the full scope of what he's going to be dealing with his son's issues and behavior problems that he could possibly have with his parents not being there, because he just has not been there. And that takes time. And his son is 12, so that means 6 years he'll be 18. He's already over halfway to being a legal adult, like not having to leave out of the house, because I'm not a big fan of kicking kids out when they turn 18. I'm like, let them leave when they're ready. But he has a lot to do. He has a lot of work to do with his son. So I'm hoping that he spends this time that he has with his son kind of doing things with him, bonding with him, and not so much worried so much about the I'm the rule maker and you're not going to be the rule breaker aspect of their relationship. I think he should just focus on making sure that they spend time together and kind of build a better bond or a better relationship, because that's really what he needs to be focused on right now. So we'll see. He's really like a new parent. Like, he knows that he has a son, but he's still a new parent in this situation because he has not been there. So I'm wishing for the best for their relationship. But he's gonna have to be patient with Dougie. Dougie has a lot going on, and I don't think Doug realizes that. Okay, Nicole is just draining my energy because she. Okay, so Deontay goes and picks her up from her mom's house because, come to find out, big surprise, that she did not want to end up spending the night with him the night that he gave her the lingerie, and she did that little swirl and swirl dance that she did for him before going into the room complaining about not having big enough boobs. So he picks her up and he's like, "Look, I feel like you not respecting me. I don't like how last night went. I'm not trying to make a big deal about it, but it's things ain't feeling right." And she's like, "Well, I'm not trying to be in a bad mood, so just take me to get my hair done." And he just dropped her off at the hair salon. And the lady that was doing, she met her friend there that had gotten released 6 days before her. So she's been out for what, about a week? She got out a week before Nicole got out of jail. So she met her friend there, and they show her mugshot, and she had like a black eye. So maybe she got into a fight while she was in there. Who knows? And her and her friend are sitting in there talking while Nicole's getting her hair done. And I called it because I said when she was doing those confessionals, when she first got out of jail, that her hair was way more full than it was when she initially got released from prison. And I was right. That lady added some extensions to her hair because her hair is not that full, and it was like really short and kind of to her shoulders, and the color was not the same. I know her mom did her color, but I knew that she got some extensions done. And the girl who did her extensions did a really good job. So she lets us know that she was in love with some girl named Tia while she was in jail. Surprise, surprise. And she ends up calling her while she's at the hair salon waiting for Deontay to come back because he's the one that's paying for her hair and going to buy her a dress also. So at the end, they just show him coming back down the sidewalk carrying the dress that she probably pre-ordered and he just went to pick up. And while she's in the back trying to get in contact with this girl Tia that she was talking to while she was in prison. So once again, making Deontay look stupid as I don't know what. And she's making him look stupid because to us, she's just so blatantly just playing him to the left and not taking him serious and letting him do all this stuff for her while she's trying to get in contact with all these other people that did nothing for her while she was in prison. And he's starting to question what's going on, but he's still, I feel like, hopeful because it's only been 2 days. So maybe he's just trying to give it some time and say, you know what, we'll see what happens. So we don't know. I feel like Deontay's not going to keep falling for it for too much longer, but we have to wait and see. But right now, he's about to pay for her extensions to get done. And I'm thinking that procedure or that process is not cheap. So he's still dishing out money over her. So, I mean, if he like it, I love it. Shoot. Maybe this will teach him a lesson when things go sour, because we all know that they will go sour the way that this relationship is going. Baby, we ended off this episode with Stan and Lisa. And let me tell you, I know a lot of people do not like Stan because they like he is trifling for making them comments about her kids and stuff like that. But I tell you what, I like Stan because Stan speaks his mind and he ain't holding back for nobody, okay? He not putting up with Lisa stuff. He tell her like it is. So let me just get into it. They pull up to his house. And when they get there, he's like, Lisa did not give me the affection and the attention that I thought she was on the way home. All she was doing was talking about her issues with her kids. And he shows her into the house. He shows her where she'll be sleeping. He has night terrors. And he says she doesn't like it, but she doesn't know anything about it. So it must be like a small issue. It's a small issue, but it's a big enough issue for him to need his own room so that he won't disturb her at night. So I guess that's being thoughtful. And he changes. He's going downstairs. He pours them a little wine. He's like, maybe half a glass, but then he was like, nope, I'm just gonna pour the whole glass, whatever. And he does. And Lisa goes outside because she's upset, and he's like, I don't know what's going on, but ever since you've been here, you just been focused on your kids, your kids, your kids. And mainly her 22-year-old son. So they go outside and she's like, well, my son needs me. And I'm really upset because the whole time that I'm telling you about all this, you didn't not once and say, hey, he can come and stay here. And I'm with Stan. Stan was like, look, I barely even know you. And we're just now getting to know each other. I have not been around you like that. And I'm not about to just start inviting your kids over here because, for one, I need to get more comfortable with you before I start trying to move your whole family into my freaking house. Because another grown man, her son's 22, so another grown man living in my house, like, no. If you want to resolve that issue, you go to him. He's not going to come here because I'm already dealing with enough picking you up from jail, taking care of you and stuff like that. Like, I'm trying to give you a more comfortable life and you're not letting your son figure it out. And her son may have issues. He may really need her there, really need her attention, but Sam just like, whatever he needs, he ain't coming here. And Lisa's like, I guarantee you, if it was your kids, you would not be feeling like this, which, duh, of course he wouldn't be feeling like that because that's his child, his son. But Stan sat on that sofa and Stan said, look, let me tell you something. Don't compare your kids to my kids because I raised my kids right, so I'm not dealing with what you're dealing with. And she was like, you know what? You a piece of And Stan was like, oh, she just don't like to hear the truth. And he got up off that sofa and Stan said, let me tell you something. I'm not apologizing for what I said because it's the truth. If you would have raised your kids right, if you would have been in your kids' life, then maybe he wouldn't be going through what he's going through. He didn't say all that, but that's what he meant, because he was like, you didn't raise your kids right. So don't try to make that my problem. That's your problem that you need to deal with your son. We're not married, we're not engaged, and we just now getting to know each other. So she packs up and she's like, well, I'm going to stay at a hotel. And Stan was in, and she was like, oh, he's just drunk off of one sip of wine. And I'm like, that don't seem like drunk talk. That just seems like him actually having some sense. Like, girl, I'm not about to move your 22-year-old son in here. I just moved you in here. And I don't even know how we're going to work out. So she packs up, she calls a cab or whoever she calls to come get her, and Stan's in the house. And Stan was like, since I picked her up, not one time did she say she wanted to be with me. Not one time did she show me that she wanted to be with me. And he said, after all I've done for her, she can go and do whatever she need to do if that's what she want to do. And she was like, well, he'll be calling me and apologizing tomorrow. We'll see, because it looked like Stan ain't about to apologize. He said, I'm not apologizing. And I kind of believe him when he said that. So we'll see. I know I've seen some other reviews and stuff, and I know some people are just like, you know what, Stan is trifling and he's this and he's that. But I honestly feel like Stan has sense. He's not stupid. He's not giving her all his money. He's invested a little bit, but he's not going all out like Deontay did for Nikki. He's not sending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 like some of these other people that are not millionaires. He's being realistic about including her kids in the relationship so fast. Like, he's basically giving her space to deal with her issues on her own without him being involved, because who is he to be involved? He don't even know her son. I don't even know why she would expect. Well, I kind of do know why she would expect that, because, they don't have the same standards in whatever in life and how they handle situations. But they end the episode with Stan and Lisa, and that part really had me laughing, because Stan was just like, girl, I'm not putting up with this. You here to spend time with me and to get to know me, and if that's not going to happen, then I'm going to say what I want to say. And I feel like I identify with that, because no, after I done been there for you and done helped you and stuff like that, you're not about to get mad at me because I won't do one more I won't do one more thing on top of all the other things that I've done out of the kindness of my heart. And then you want to get an attitude with me. Well, you need to go do what you need to do. And, I guess we'll talk about that later. But, I mean, shoot, I agree with Stan on this part. Her son needs her. And maybe maybe he does, in a sense. He's like, oh, well, he's 22, so he's grown, so he should be able to figure it out. Like, he's grown, but he's still a young adult, so he does still need guidance. And if he doesn't have that, I mean, he's looking to his mom that just got out of jail to help him or do whatever. So he's obviously going through some stuff, but at the same time, I feel Stan. You need to go and deal with your son and resolve some issues. You need to go and do that. But don't think that you're going to do that at my house, because you obviously have some stuff that you need to work on, and you can do that. Like, you need to kind of be able to, I guess, separate us building a relationship from you needing to resolve certain things until we get to that point where we can all come together. And I would feel like more so like it's my duty to help you do that. Like, I can see if Stan had been in her son's life ever since he was a little kid, but he haven't. He does not know her son, and the way that they talk, it seems like he's never even met him. So I think Lisa's asking for a lot, and she kind of needs to kind of go into this slowly, and she kind of wants to hit the ground running as soon as she gets out of prison. And she doesn't have any resources. She don't have a job. She don't have a car. She don't have any money. Like, it's a lot that she does not have. So it would benefit her to get to know Stan and to kind of get into this comfortable, perfect little lifestyle that she claims that he's trying to fit her into. But at the same time, I don't think it's that. I think that he's trying to take care of her. And I think that there can be some meeting in the middle. She can be there and be in a relationship with him and enjoy being taken care of and not having all those responsibilities, while at the same time helping her kids with what she can. He's not telling her, don't talk to your son, don't call him and stuff like that. So I just think he's not doing it the way that she wants him to do it, and vice versa. She's not doing it the way that he thinks she should do it. But they just need to seriously sit down and have a talk about something, because right now they're kind of bumping heads over that. But I just feel like that's an issue that can be resolved if they just really sit down and communicate and try to figure out some middle ground, some sort of balance. So that's the end of season 3, episode 4 of Love After Lockup. And I will be back next time with my 5th episode review of Love After Lockup next week. Bye, y'all. Have a good night.